I'm Johnny Gonzalez, and I'd like to welcome you to this course on teaching future-ready students by showing them how to code. I've been training teachers and working with classroom technology for over 15 years, and I'm going to explain what coding is and argue that coding should be explored in every class of every school from kindergarten to the 12th grade. If we want our students to take more ownership of their education, we need to show them that the goal is not just to impress their teachers or their parents or to feel good about themselves. They need to understand that they will have an ability to affect the world around them, and they need to see the impact that they can have. The student-centered perspective is primarily focused on the learner. Here's a thought-provoking exercise for you. Do a quick image search on the internet for Office 1930s. You'll probably see many images of rows of desks all facing the front of the room. Then visit the office of almost any modern innovative corporation or startup. You'll notice a stark contrast. I would argue that the space informs the values of the office, and to me, it appears that the 1930s office values compliance, while the modern office values collaboration and creativity. We have all witnessed an extraordinary transformation in how technology and innovation have changed the way work gets done. However, most classrooms today look very similar to how they looked 20, 50, even 100 years ago. That is, rows of desks facing a teacher who deliver instruction. It seems like schools have failed to keep pace with the changes in the rest of the world, and students are spending their days preparing for the offices of the 1930s. This trend of entrenched education goes well beyond the spaces our students occupy. Just take a look at the titles of the classes students are required to take to graduate high school. English, chemistry, algebra, and ancient history were mandatory for me going to school in the 80s and 90s. And now it looks like the same classes will be required for my children going to school in the 20s and 30s. I can't argue that any of these classical courses are unimportant now. We certainly need students who know how to write clearly, understand science, solve math problems, and have a sense of history, now as much as we ever have. But it's clear to me that classrooms do need to change to keep up with the changes outside of them. I'm going to explain what coding is and argue that coding should be explored in every class of every school from kindergarten to the 12th grade. Teachers don't need to be coders to make that happen. Coding is computer programming. It's learning to define a problem and break the solution down into logical step-by-step actions a computer can understand. It's also an amazing way to gain power over your life. Without basic technological literacy, the doors to almost every position that pays a living wage are closed. We struggle to stay informed and connected as citizens, and we're deeply limited in our daily lives if we do not have access to the knowledge and resources available online. Yet while we continue to teach reading and writing and arithmetic to every child in every grade, we struggle to teach the fundamental skills of computing. We are meeting this resistance because a lot of educators are afraid of technology. First off, the culture of education has a bias towards tradition. Many teachers remember the school they grew up in and believed, hey, it worked pretty well for me. We tend to find that same model and create that for our students. After all, no one gets fired for teaching the 3 R's. So it's a big leap for most of us to start teaching technology. Coding in particular is a foreign language. A lot of us teachers don't know what it is, so we're scared to bring it into the classroom. Worst of all, we're used to being the experts in the class. And now, some of our students know more than we do about tech. But coding can be easy. With a little bit of basic math and an open mind, anyone can do it. And it's okay to be learning alongside our students, because that's the new reality. The way learning used to happen is someone would go to school, learn the content from an expert, and then use that knowledge for a job for the rest of his or her life. But that's not how careers work anymore. Learning is now a constant practice, where everyone is required to take on new skills all the time. We teachers need to model this for our students. We need to be learning animals. We need to show that we're constantly exploring and growing. This new model is, hey, I've got this problem and I want to solve it. And I want to learn this new skill to solve it. One great place to start is coding. Not only do we get to explore the technology that dominates our lives, we give our students a sense of control over their devices. In the following video, I'm going to share with you code.org, a great place to get the fundamentals of computer programming in a site that is fun, where you can create programs with characters like Angry Birds. Blockly is split into 3 main parts. The left side is the bird's maze, where your program runs. The instructions for each level are written here on top. This middle area is the toolbox, and each of these blocks is a command for that bird to understand. The white space on the right is called the workspace, where you'll drag blocks from the toolbox to build your program. If I drag the move block to our workspace and press run, what do you think will happen? You're right, it moved forward 1 space. And what if I want the bird to do something else after it moves forward? Well, I can just add another block to the program. I'm going to choose the turn right block, and I'll drag it underneath my move block until the yellow arrow appears. Then I'll drop it and the 2 blocks will snap together. See how it's going to snap? Right there. Then I press reset and I press run again. And the bird will perform the commands that are stacked from top to bottom on our workspace. If you ever want to delete a block, just remove it from the stack and drag it to the trash can. Just like this. Here's the trash can. After you've hit run, you can always hit the reset button to get the bird back to its starting place. You hit the reset. There, you see? It went back to the starting place. Now, let's get those pigs.